Good morning everybody again, and welcome today to the Steel Monotype run in Pokémon Gold. This one's going to be an interesting one because for the fact that there's no Steel type base stages apart from Magnemite in this generation, I'm going to do something a little different with the way that we're actually going to get some of our Pokémon. So, considering Steel type was where it was introduced in Gen 2, I didn't want to just use Magnemite as my starter. I wanted to use different Pokemon that you don't usually see in this game. Reason why you don't usually get a full mono Steel type team in this generation, pretty much for the fact that, well, you only get one Metal Core or one or two of them. I think you can get them other ways, but to be honest, yeah, it's kind of hard to get a mono Steel type team in this generation. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to make sure that Skarmory, who we're going to call Princess Liam, one of the subscribers, thank you for joining. Really appreciate you being here. Yeah, we are going to start off with Skarmory, and at different points throughout this run, so after different little milestones throughout the gym challenge, at those points, once we've actually completed them, we will add in a new Steel type Pokemon that's relevant to that sort of area. So we've started off with Skarmory. I've just never used it before in Gen 2, so that's the reason why I wanted to start off with it here. And Skarmory is ridiculously good. It really is ridiculously good. Because Steel types are the ultimate defensive Pokemon, their defenses are high, they're genuinely considered the best type in the game. Or at least until Dragons really ran rampant in Gen 4 and 5, and of course the Fairy type then came in. Steel is still consistently one of the best typings in all of Pokemon, really. So there are 4 Steel type Pokemon we are going to pick up throughout this run. Princess Liam, our Skarmory, is going to be the first, and then I think I'm going to do it after every 2 gyms. So after every 2 gyms we'll include a new Pokemon, because the majority of these Pokemon, they only become Steel types once they evolve. And of course, as I said, you only get 1 Metal Coat, and that's after the league. So yeah, we'll do it a little bit differently today. Aaron Wade, thank you for subscribing. You are going to be our rival for today. Let's see how we do the rest of this run. The very first gym lead, of course, we need to take on is going to be Falkner, which, considering we're starting with a Steel and a Flying type, you can pretty much guarantee how this one's going to go very, very quickly. The major thing that we need to keep an eye on, though, is we are trying to keep to the level cap. And of course the level cap for Falkner is level 9 because he's got a level 9 Pidgeotto as his ace. So that is a bit of a difficult curve to start off with, especially in this sort of run, where you are trying to adhere to a level cap. It's different in the Solar run though, because, to be fair, we're not really too bothered about level caps in Solar running, and we'll get back to Solar running in Gen 2 in the new year. So yeah, let's see how we do against Falkner. So, one of Falkner's traits is the fact that he uses Mud Slap, but we've started with a Skarmory that is a Flying type, so Mud Slap is actually not even going to hit us. And the rest of his moves, pretty ineffective against us as well. The Steel type defensive traits are just insane, and we take barely any hits. We can tank them even when we do, and we get a very, very easy first badge. You might think I'm kind of making this video way too easy by starting off with Skarmory, but that's where you'll be a little bit wrong. So yeah, we will do fantastic against the first however many gyms, but it's not an easy ride all too much. Peck and Growl are the first 2 moves we get as a Skarmory, and we don't really get much else really with a Skarmory. It doesn't get Steel Wing until after level 49 or something like that. So Skarmory's moveset on level up is honestly not too great. And they didn't really introduce all too many Steel type moves in this generation either. So all we've really got to work with in this very early game is Peck, which is fantastic against the second gym leader. But we're going to have to rely on Mud Slap quite heavily here, especially with Union Cave because of all the rock type Pokemon here. And Mud Slap is easily the best move to be using here, but it only has limited uses with 10 PP. So if you can't get past these 2 hikers with 10 PP's worth of Mud Slap, you need to go and waste a little bit of time trying to go back to that Pokemon Center, get your PP back, and then try it again. So, starting off with Leah, probably one of the best things we could have had, because that can lower the defenses and make sure we can one-shot with Mud Slap. But we also don't want to go against too many mandatory trainers. Alright, if we can help it, not go against any optional trainers, because even at a low level like 11, I reckon we could actually do quite well against Bugsy. But by the time we've got to the end of the Slowpoke well with the Rockets here, we're around about level 13, probably going into 14 as we go into the gym. Yeah, level 14, there you go. And Bugsy's easily the better choice to be going against straight away, because we've got the type advantage with the move Peck. And we don't really need to worry about too much as trainers. Let's see how we do against the big man himself. I hope you guys are enjoying the month of, well, RB so far. We are going to try and get through every single Gen 2 Mon type run. And, wow, that was very, very easy. We've taken down a Cypher already. And then the second half of this month, as I've said in previous videos, we are going to try and focus on doing challenge runs. So throughout the year, you guys have been dropping ideas into the comments of what sort of challenges you'd like me to try and do. Some of them are absolutely insane. Some of them I know I'm going to lose sleep over. But we're going to try some of them, and we'll soon find out what that does with this. Anyway, the Azalea Town rival fight, not too much of a problem at all. I mean, I have started off with him having a Chikorita. The worst case scenario I should have done, to be fair, to make this a lot harder, I really should have given them a Cyndaquil to start off with, because the biggest weakness of the Steel type is the Fire type. And considering the late game has got some very powerful Fire types, that would really make this a lot more difficult. But also, with 2 gym badges, I think it's time to add a new team member, and because you can pick up Pinecoat in Ilex Forest, and unfortunately Pinecoat is not a Steel type to start off with, but its evolution is. So we're going to add the Bagworm Pokemon Fortress into our team, and we have 2 Steel type team members to progress into the next town with. Tom Apple, you are going to be our Fortress for today. I feel like it's kind of aptly named because Pinecoat's round, and Apple's are round. Yeah, that's all I got. But thank you for subscribing. I'm glad you're here. While we're in Goldenrod, we are going to pick up a few moves. I don't know if any of the Steel type Pokemon we're going to pick up will actually be able to use any elemental punching moves. But if they can, that'll be definitely helpful later down the line. But hopefully, we don't really need it. Whitney is the normal type gym leader, and in all honesty, we're going to use some cheesy strats with this Fortress. So, Fortress is a very good defensive tank. It is 4 times weak to Fire type moves, which another one of our team members later down the line will be as well. But it can tank a lot of hits. It also has the move Protect, it also has Takedown and Headbutt to deal out some damage. It doesn't actually get any bug moves, strangely enough. But what it also does get is Self-Destruct, and that is legitimately a good strategy to be using in this run. Because we're not using like hardcore Nuzlocke rules where if they faint then we can't use them anymore. Yeah, it's actually a legitimate strategy for us to be using. Whitney, even though she doesn't have the type advantage, is still actually a bit of a problem for this team. You really need to take into account what moves you're using, when you're using them, and trying to chip away as much as possible on that Miltank to try and get it down. So you can stall out the rollouts by using Protect, because then it breaks the accumulation. You can use Headbutt just to deal out little bits of chip damage, and you use the cycle to get it down onto low HP. But at some point you are going to be on quite low HP yourself with a Fortress, and it's at that point the Self-Destruct strats come out. And I'm actually going to, it's very, very weird that I am actually using Self-Destruct strategies on this channel, because with being a solo runner, using Self-Destruct is a death sentence. Like, there's literally, if you use Self-Destruct, you've pretty much just wasted your attempt. But Self-Destruct in a monotype team run, yeah, I'm all over that all day. We beat Whitney on the second try. We pick up the move Attract, which we might use later. I mean, some of our guys are pretty charming. And then we progress on to get the move Rollout. Now, Rollout is a good move. I'm really hoping one of our Pokemon can learn it, and if any of them, yes, Fortress can learn it, so we actually have some type diversity now. We don't need the move Takedown, and we can progress onto the next gym, of course, which is going to be in Ecruteak City, and Ecruteak City is going to be a weird one for a Steel type team. Either way, on the way we are going to go and beat up Psychic Greg, just because we don't like Psychic Greg. He stopped so many of my runs. You won't believe how many how many solo runs I've done where on the way to Ecruteak City, that final psychic that you have to go against, the mandatory psychic Greg, he absolutely walls you with just like a level 14 to 16 drowsy, and it's purely down to hypnosis and dream eater. He is a nightmare sometimes when the luck is not going your way. Either way, let's see how we're doing against the ghost type gym leader. We're not dealing, we should be alright. I mean, the worst thing that can happen, we get put to sleep, we get cursed, we get dream eated. It's Morty's strategy all over, and it's a powerful strategy, and one that I hope to use when we finally get to the ghost mono video. So of course, let's see how we do. Princess Liam is actually one of our speedier members, but at level 21, yeah, we're actually quite under-leveled for this gym right now. The worst thing that we can do, of course, is get cursed, but the curse also doesn't... Every time that you switch out, the curse, like, it gets rid of the curse, so they will then use curse again to even cut their HP down even more. So using a team-based strategy in this gym is actually kind of advised, because you want them to use curse so they'll reduce their own HP, you switch out, and then you can start that cycle all over again. That brings us into the final Gengar, and we need Mud Slap to make this work, because that Gengar, if it puts us to sleep and uses Dream Eater, I don't think we've got a chance. But Princess Liam proper clutches up here. If we get hit by a Nightshade, worst thing that could happen on that final Haunter. But I don't feel like we're too far off. Let's get a little bit more experience against the optional rival fight in the Burnt Tower. Let's see if we can do better against his team. So, Aaron Wade here starts off with his Haunter, and of course, that Haunter has got Curse, which I hate to see. But we're going to stay in because the second Pokemon out is the Magnemite, and we can take it down with some Mud Slaps. That then brings in Zubat, and you know what? If we can just take out the majority of his team with just our Skarmory, then Fortress is on its own to take out the Bayleaf. That is going to happen here, and we're at level 22 coming out of this fight, but we can't use Self-Destruct, otherwise we have to count this as a loss. Thankfully, a couple Headbutts get us the win, and we're going to go back into the Morty fight. Now Morty, yeah, we're actually going to start this time with Tomato, because we're really hoping to either set up rollouts, or we're hoping for him to use Curse. This time round though, Fortress goes completely nuts with rollouts. It just sweeps the entire team without even seeing a single curse. That's how easy Morty can be when he doesn't get a chance to set up, or his AI just decides he doesn't want to use curse for once. But with 4 gym badges now, it's time to add a new member to the team. Yeah, we've added one after the first 2 gyms, we've added another one after the 4th gym, and we're going to add Caesar, because in the National Park you can grab a Cypher, and yeah, this feels quite apt to actually add Caesar to the team now. And Caesar is just an amazing addition to the team. It may not be a Pokemon that actually gets any increase of its base stats when it evolves, but still, that Steel typing is just worth it all the time. Tenchi Muyo, you are going to be our Caesar for this run. Thank you for subscribing, welcome to the channel. Let's see what Caesar's going to do for this team. So, bringing ourselves into Olivine City, there are a few things we need to do. One, we need to pick up a Good Rod so we can actually get surfing Pokemon. Then we need to go at the top of the lighthouse. We can start off the Secret Potion side quest. And of course, we also need to pick up Patrimore for strength in the little cafe. God help us when we get to the electric run, because I was looking at like the different Pokemon that are available for monotype runs in this generation. And I'm trying to do as many of these videos without including any Kanto Pokemon in these runs. It's going to be a bit difficult on ones where, like the Ghost Mono run where there's just Misdreavus, and that's not technically a monotype run for Gen 2 because it'd pretty much just be a Misdreavus solo run. And as I've proven with pretty much every Gen 2 solo run, because you're on your own and the level curve's weird, you actually can't get through this without having more than one member and keeping to that level cap. So once we've started off the Secret Potion side quest, we can head on over to Cianwood City. And Cianwood City is a weird one for us because technically, fighting is super effective against Steel. But all of our Steel types have got resistances to fighting. Flying's a resistance, bugs are resistant, so we're either going to get hit neutrally, or they're going to get some cheeky fire punches in. We'll soon find out anyway. On the way, we also do go against quite a few trainers, because with our Pokemon being their evolved forms, their level curves are a little bit weird. So their growth rates, I mean, they're a little bit slower. And, oh wow, we picked up agility already this early as level 24? That's going to be key later down the run. If you've seen my Caesar run, you already know what sort of strategy I'm going for with this. That brings us over to Cianwood City though, and from here we can pick up the secret potion in the very bottom house. If you're really wanting to pick up a Shuckle, you can pick up a Shuckle here for free. But what we really want from here is the gym badge. Before the gym badge though, we have a few little problems to deal with, and of course, two of them are going to be the Dojo Brothers. So the Dojo Brothers can block you on a lot of runs, pretty much just because it's a back-to-back fight. You beat the Hitmonlee and then you have to go straight into the fight with the Hitmonchan without healing. And as a solo run, that's kind of difficult. And as you can see here, Hitmonchan realizes that we are weak to fire, so that is all that he's going to use until he decides for some reason to start using Comet Punch. So Princess Leia manages to get in, get the win, and let's see how we do against Chuck himself. Chuck is going to be a weird fight. Let's see how we do. So first off, of course, he's going to be starting off with Primeape, so I'm going with our Princess Liam here. Princess Liam's got the move Peck still, meaning we've got a super effective move to deal with the fighting type. Surf is doing really good damage against us, and we are put to sleep, so Skarmory falls, and that brings in Tom Apple. And I decided, if we're going to get on low HP, let's just go for it. Oh, we didn't do it this time round. We just can't tank more than 2 Surfs. Thankfully, Caesar can come in, get that last chip win, and there are 5 badges already. And with 5 badges, that means we've got a big choice to make. Do we now go over to Olivine City and do Jasmine's badge, or do we progress on to Mahogany Town and try and beat Price over there? Of course, we want to pick up the Fly TM for our Skarmory, because then we've got a much more powerful flying type move to work with. But yeah, do we go and beat Jasmine now, or do we go to Mahogany Town and beat Price instead? With going over to Mahogany Town, we could do the Rocket Side Quest, get some levels up, and that might make Jasmine more viable. But while we're here, nah, it's not going to be worth it. In fact, I actually did try this fight before coming over here, but I decided, no, it's not going to be all too viable. Yes, we are resisted to the steel types ourselves, but those Magnemites are a problem. So we're going to come back a little bit later, and I'll show you the Jasmine fights that actually matter. So we need to now go over to the Lake of Rage, of course, because we need to go and start off the Rocket Side Quest. And with the Rocket Side Quest, of course, there are going to be different challenges to deal with. One of the great things about Steel type, and that makes this run, at least the Rocket Side Quest, a lot more bearable, the Steel type is also resisted to the Poison type. So the Poison types cannot hit us with the likes of Sludge. And even if they could hit us with those moves, it wouldn't do much damage whatsoever. I'm pretty sure it's like immune to Steel. So yeah, Poison types, which the Rockets have a lot of, not going to do all too much to us. We can course through this quite comfortably. Tom Apple here is actually a pretty good lead Pokemon to be using. Depending on which team setup he goes against, you can either self-destruct or you can try and stall him out with the moves. And if all else goes wrong, you roll out for the victory. That brings us to the Red Gyarados. And the Red Gyarados, it's a weird Pokemon for us to take on. Even though we don't have any Pokemon that are weak to it, it's still kind of powerful. Like, we're not at level 30 here at this rate. And Tom Apple here manages to get its rollout started set up, take it down, but if it had got a few more thrashes in, if it had gone for a water type move, I can't remember if it has a water type move to start off with, we actually would have been in some bother there. Back in Mahogany Town, we see the customary Hyper Beam from Lance into the random guy's face, and we head into the Rocket Side Quest. And from here, we get some very well needed experience because we are very underleveled. We've already got 5 gym badges and we're not even at level 30 here, which is pretty good. None of the other runs that I've done so far have been this low leveled. But with the Steel type comes high defense, and up until this point in the run, there's been a lot of physical attackers. There's not been too many special attackers. And even though our special defenses aren't the greatest, they're still pretty decent. But majority of these trainers, they are physical attackers, and we don't have to worry about that all too much. Even on Pokemon that have got special moves like Bite, because Dark in this generation is a special type move, we don't worry all too much, because Dark's resisted by Steel. Or at least, yeah, the Steel type is just fantastic. Like, it is such a good typing. It was so well needed. Once we've beaten the executives here, we can progress on to Price's gym. And if we beat Price there, the level cap goes up to level 35, and that gives us more to work with for Jasmine instead of trying to beat her around about level 30. So, the executive's not too much of a problem whatsoever. It's just kind of annoying here that this Arbok can use the move Bite and it can outspeed us, meaning if a flinch comes in, we could be flinch death here. But we managed to get through that, we push through, and then the Gloom puts us to sleep. This team really does not like Tom Apple here, but I love Fortress. Fortress I really like as a Pokemon, but as I've said in other videos, I'm a sucker for all the weird Pokemon that no one else seems to like. So Fortress ranks highly for me. I like it. It's a little tank. It's a little light. Yeah, it's a steel pinecone. How can you not like it? Let's see how we do against the Ice-type trainer, Price. So, Price has got 3 Pokemon, and thankfully again, we've got a type advantage. Ice-type is weak to Steel, so I think that's right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ice is weak to Steel. But we're just going to try and draw this out a little bit. We're going to go for the Mud Slaps, and that way we can reduce Dugong's accuracy quite a bit. It does mean it's going to put it into heal range, but 2 flies after that can take it down. And then that brings us into Pile of Swine. And Skarmory's got this. Like, unless we get hit by a Blizzard. Ooh, we did get hit by a Blizzard. Is that... No, wow. We didn't actually take it out with 3 flies. That's quite impressive. That then brings in Tenchi Muyo, who we are going to now just headbutt this Pile of Swine in the face. And even before level 30, we've got 6 badges here. We've got up to level 35 on the level cap. So let's see how we do against Jasmine, because with that sort of setup, I feel like we'll have enough now to work with. But before we do that, we do technically have 6 badges. So we can go and pick up our final Pokemon, which is going to be Steelix. And I know you don't pick it up at the Lake of Rage, but I didn't want to fly all the way back to Union Cave to go and find an Onix. So we're picking up our Steelix at the Lake of Rage. But now we have our full team assembled. We need to start looking at our weaknesses. And there's a glaring weakness that we do have, but we'll soon discuss that soon. And Toaster, you are going to be our Steelix for today, and my god, you are going to come in clutch in some very, very crucial ways. So let's progress back over to Olivine City. And Olivine City has a big problem that I mentioned earlier, and it's not the Steelix, it's actually the Magnemites. But with our new Pokemon in tow, we have nothing to worry about whatsoever. I might even go into this with quite a low leveled Steelix just to show you how much of a difference this Pokemon makes to this team, especially against someone like Jasmine. So once we've decided to choose a few moves, I mean there's not too many of these moves we can actually teach our Pokemon. I actually decided to teach Swagger, because when the RNG works for you, it is actually a very, very good move. You're raising the opponent's attack by 2 stages, but it confuses them. And if it confuses them, they've just had their attack raised, so hitting themselves with confusions can do big damage over time. So it's worthwhile using. Plus, with being the Steel type, we can tank physical hits. Let's see how we do against Jasmine though. So we are going to start off with our underleveled Steelix, and it's all we need really. At level 18 we can take down both Magnemites pretty comfortably, but as soon as that Steelix comes out from Jasmine's side, we need to switch. So I'm going to switch straight into Tom Apple, because it can tank hits incredibly well. We're going to try and stall out the uses of Iron Tail, so that he's going to try and use different moves instead. And we can also use Rollout to try and deal out bigger damage over time. Unfortunately though, after so many Iron Tails, I kind of got bored of using the Protect strategy. And we switch into Princess Liam, where we can start using Mud Slap. We don't want to use all too many Mud Slaps just in case our own Steelix does go down, and we need a couple to take out those Magnemites. So, I don't even listen to my own advice, and I used all my Mud Slaps on that Steelix, so its accuracy is put into the dirt. And from here we actually go through quite a long fight trying to use Fly to take out this Steelix. It's used up its hyper potion, and a few rock throws do come in every now and then. Oh wow, is Princess Liam going to be able to tank this here? Come on, use the flies, fly it. One more will do it, and yes, we actually do manage to. So yeah, accuracy reduction's broken, really, isn't it? That then brings in the last Magnemite, and Princess Liam can finally fall here and leave it all to Ant Toaster here. The very underleveled Steelix gets us the win here. Absolute game changer in this fight. And we also can now learn the move Iron Tail, but only on one Pokemon. Most likely it's going to be going on Steelix because it's got a big tail. Might as well. And Steelix as well is also perfect for the Rocket side quest. There's so many poison types that you go against, and one of the best moves that we can teach a Steelix this early in the run is the move Dig, which you pick up in the National Park. We can tank loads of hits apart from against an exploding Weezing, but this fight is just annoying anyway. 6 Pokemon, all from the same Pokemon line. It's really kind of annoying, but we can use tactics like Fly to make it more humorous for us, where they will just blow themselves up after we've flown up into the air. And we can tank hits from self-destruct pretty comfortably anyway. I didn't realise earlier on in this fight that I'd been smokescreened quite a lot, and that I do actually have the move Swift. So it doesn't matter what accuracy drops we had, Swift would always hit every single time. Meaning we can use 4 Swifts, take down a Coffin, and beat this Executive. That then brings us to the Underground, where of course we have another rival fight against Aaron Wade. Let's see how we do in this one, because this one is probably the second toughest in the entire game. We're going to start off with Tom Apple to roll its way to victory. I did debate teaching Tom Apple Spikes, just because it's one of the few Pokemon that can actually learn the move Spikes, and we are doing a team-based run, so it would actually make sense. So yeah, why not? We've also taught Rage to Ant Toaster, just so we can try and deal out more damage and also increase its attack, because Steelix's attack isn't that great. But the Meganium starts being a problem. We get paralyzed from Body Slam, but thankfully Tenchi Muyo can come in and Fury Cutter it down. But that then brings in another problem. That is now their Magnemite. We've got only Princess Liam left to try and chip away at it. We use Mud Slap to deal out big damage, and thankfully we do not get hit by a Thunderbolt. Next up is the Haunter, and we use a couple of Mud Slaps to lower its accuracy. And we didn't get cursed here as well. Very happy that didn't happen. The final Pokemon, Sneasel, doesn't really have all too much to work with, and 2 Flies gets us the win. But that wasn't expecting to use my entire team there to try and take down Aaron Wade here. That then brings us to the top of the radio tower with the conclusion of the Rocket side quest, and we have finally learnt the move Metal Claw for Caesar. Fantastic move, 50 base power, but it also has the chance to increase attack whenever you use it. So if we keep getting attack boosts from Metal Claw, we're looking pretty good, and we can sweep teams very quickly with just the Caesar. That brings us to the penultimate fight, and this is our first really big problem of the entire run. This guy has got 2 Fire-type Pokemon, one of them being a Houndour, the other being a Houndoom, and we've already lost 1 Pokemon there. Ember is doing half damage on all of our Pokemon. If not, it's just going to take them out in 1. We need to make sure we can hit hard, hit fast. Oh my god. That was just 1 Ember. Thankfully, Ant Toaster again comes in clutch, uses Dig, takes down the Houndoom, and because of the ridiculous defenses, we tanked a tackle to get the win, and that went right down to the wire. That just shows how bad we do against fire types in this generation. And that's not going to get any easier with the upcoming fights. Now we have 7 gym badges, we can progress on to the 8th, which of course is going to be Clare. And Clare has her own problems. Steelix is not going to be the optimal Pokemon to take on this gym. At least not against the Kingdra, but we need good firepower and we need to tank some hits. We need special defense here for this gym. This is the first proper special defensive gym that we need to deal with. And it is not easy no matter which Pokemon I bring into this. So let's see how we do. We don't have Ice Punch to work with, so we need to try and chip away at a Pokemon gradually, but Surf is just doing a lot of damage. Like a lot of damage. We didn't even take down the very first Dragonair there. It takes down Ant Toaster in just one shot. And Tom Apple just... we can't stand up to this. Then comes in Tenchi Muyo with Metal Claw. We do get paralysed, we get Thunderbolted, but it manages to get through that one Dragonair on its own. Next up is the second Dragonair, and we're on 18 HP, 5 HP going into the Kingdra. We didn't have a chance there. So what did we have to do? We had to level up a little bit here now. We're going into this around about level 36, and we're just starting off with our Caesar. We're trying to get those attack boosts, trying to take down as many Pokemon as we can beforehand, but Princess Liam, they'll then come in and finish off the Dragonairs. The big problem, of course, is going to be that Kingdra. It can one-shot our Steelix pretty much instantly. We can use Fly to try and get rid of some of the PP, but even Princess Liam falls. So that brings in Tom Apple. Tom Apple here can stall out with Protect and can use Headbutt. And if we get into real bad trouble, we're going to self-destruct. You know for a fact we are. And we get a 1 in a million critical hit with self-destruct to get the win against Clare. That happened. I did the fight about 10 or 12 times before that luck happened where Fortress got that critical hit. It wouldn't have happened any other way, but we did it. In Victory Road, we can pick up the TM26 Earthquake, and we can now give that to our Steelix for an even better ground type move to utilise. And that brings us to the next rival fight, and the last rival fight of this video. So give a big hands to Aaron Wade for being the rival, and thank you for subscribing, mate. I really appreciate it. Tom Apple goes absolutely wild here against his team. Or at least the very first Pokemon. Antosa then comes in, deals with the Magneton, and then Kadabra comes out. We're going to use Dig as much as we can just because it does deal out decent damage, and we even get a critical hit there, my god. I also debate learning Sandstorm, but that would also not help the rest of our team. And then when the Meganium comes in, yeah, Future Sight and Razor Leaf, not a good combination for us. That's when we bring back in our Skarmory, and we use Fly to deal out massive damage. That then brings in Haunter, who can really not do all too much at this point in the game. It is not as threatening as early on, and we get the win finally. Level cap goes up to level 42, and we can begin the Elite Four Challenge. The Elite Four Challenge is going to be a mixed bag. Will is the Psychic type Elite Four trainer, and I don't know, I think Tom Apple is just a good lead for this team because of the moveset we've given it. Rollout is good because it just keeps accumulating damage, and we take out both Zartus very, very quickly. We get down to 1 HP, and I decide, screw it, we use an Explosion, we take out the third Pokemon, and we've got an advantage at 3 versus 2. He brings in Executor, who's going to go down to our Skarmory's Flies, and then finally it's Jinx, and we're going to go for at least a couple of Mud Slaps, get its accuracy down, but Ice will do big damage against a Skarmory. We take him down though with a final Swift, and that was quite an easy first fight. The second with Koga might be a bit more difficult. So again, we are starting with our Fortress just because it is such a good lead, and Rollout is a great move to have. Yes, it doesn't have the greatest accuracy, but that accumulation of damage and the fact that Koga, quite a few of Koga's team are weak to rock type moves, it's a good Pokemon to be using. Anyway, Fortress does fall, and we switch into using Princess Liam. Princess Liam can't do much against the Fortress itself. We've got no fire type moves. We've actually got no super effective moves to deal with a Fortress. And I decide we'll go for the Mud Slaps just to get its accuracy down. And that was before I even realised that it was using Swift. But because of the accuracy drops, we actually did get an Explosion miss, which you love to see. Meaning we're now onto the Muck, and Muck cannot do anything against us. It will try and use Acid Armor, it will try and use Minimize, but we've got the move Swift. We can take it down, and he can't do anything about it because of the accuracy drops, and the fact that his only attacking move is a Poison type move. That then brings us into the Crobat, and we're going to go for Fly here. Fly, because of the accuracy drops, we weren't doing all too much. We weren't hitting every single turn, but we still clutch up and managed to get through, bringing back in his Ariados, which he switched out earlier on. So it's weird to see the Ariados as his final Pokemon going down. That then brings us into Bruno, and you know for a fact we are going to go with Tom Apple again. Skarmory would be the perfect Pokemon for this fight, but no, we've got very good defenses. We've got the best defenses in the entire region on our team. We take down the Hitmontop pretty comfortably, but then the big problem comes in, which is Hitmonchan. And if I'd thought about it, I should have used Explosion on turn 1. We need to take this Hitmonchan down immediately or we are done. And annoyingly, Fire Punch does get a burn on the Steelix there, but finally Tenchimuyo comes out and takes it down, but that just leaves Princess Liam on its own. But then Bruno messes up. He uses Swagger on us, and as I said earlier, Swagger increases your attack by 2 stages. We managed to break through the confusion every single time, break out of it without hitting ourselves, and we have got everything we need to take down Bruno on the first try. Karen is out next, and I'm hoping that we can get a first time win because she's kind of an annoying trainer. Rollout is not going to be the best strategy here, just for the fact that we can be confused very, very quickly, and that will break the accumulation of damage. What we need to be doing is headbutting our way through this. Tom Apple doesn't really have all too much viability in this fight, apart from maybe taking out the Umbreon, which we do with a crafty explosion. That then brings in Houndoom, and I'm hoping... No, we can't outspeed. This Houndoom is a problem. What do we do? Ah, I know what we should do. Let's try this again. I know exactly what we should be doing here. So instead of starting off with Tom Apple, we're going to start off with Tenchimuyo. Remember when I said earlier in this run that Agility is going to be a great move? Well, we've also just picked up the move Swords Dance. We've maxed out our speed, we've maxed out our attack. Now Slash is a one-shot on everything. I didn't think earlier on, I completely forgot about my Caesar's only run. This is going to be the Pokemon to beat the final fights with. Tenchimuyo's 2 moves of Swords Dance and Agility are the perfect. It's the perfect setup Pokemon on this team. It does get taken down to Gengar though, because we couldn't hit it with Slash, but it's all fine. Ant Toaster can come in, and wow, we actually got whirlwinded into the Krabby. Okay, we have to waste a turn switching back out. And my god, the whirlwind even hits you when you're flying. I didn't know that. Did any of you guys know that? Did any of you know that whirlwind can still hit you when you're up in the air? I didn't know that. We beat Karen and progress on to the champion, and for here, we're going with the same strategy. We agility twice, we set up 1 Swords Dance, but 1 Swords Dance is just not enough. It's not. But when we get a little bit better luck, we can set up 1 Swords Dance, 1 agility, 2 agilities. This time around we actually do manage to take them down. And we needed those agilities up, because otherwise we would not have outsped that Charizard. And that Charizard will sweep your entire team. So as soon as that Charizard is down, the fight is a lot easier. We can start setting up rollouts with our Fortress, but this Dragonite has got Fire Blast. And we didn't outspeed it with 2 agilities on our Caesar. We just got swept. Again. What we need to do differently then? Well, instead of going for the agility straight away, we set up Sword Stance. And once we've set up more Sword Stances, we can actually outspeed all of his Pokemon. And we've also gone up to level 50 here. We do get taken down by that final Dragonite again though. But from here, we can actually bring in Skarmory, who's got better speed. And then from there, we can use Fly quite a few times. We're not doing all too well, but we did manage to get it confused because it was using Outrage. And this is where Steelix really came in clutch. Managed to take out pretty much all of the Dragonites using Iron Tail alone, bringing it into Aerodactyl. Steelix managed to get us the win. And there we go. We've beaten the entire Johto region with just a Steel Monotype team. If you're not happy, by the way, that I started off catching these Pokemon in the wrong way and hacking them in so that I can actually use this team, that's okay. This video isn't for everyone, and I was doing this in a way that was more fun for me instead of having to try and figure out how I can get 4 metal codes. Either way, I've proven that this team can do it. It was probably kind of a given at the start that they could do it, but That's the fun of this challenge, it's just trying out new Pokemon, seeing how the team setup works, and actually seeing if this team can do it. Because at the start, you never know. You never know until you actually do it yourself or you watch a video like this. Now we've beaten the Kanto region, we can then go into... Well, we've beaten the Johto region, we can go into Kanto and try and beat Blue, the former champion. And with a team like ours, there's only one Pokemon I'm worried about here. Thankfully though, it's not his lead. So, his Pidgeot is really annoying. It uses Whirlwind a lot. It uses it a lot. And the reason why it's using it is because I've got low level Pokemon in the back. So the AI is actually looking at that and realising, you know what? We're just going to use Whirlwind and mess up your team. Like, literally, it used it so many times, pretty much every turn. We had no chance to set up. It knows the fact that I want to set up, because the next Pokemon he brings in is that Arcanine. And that puts us in a very bad position. None of our Pokemon can tank its flamethrowers. So we need to get some better luck. And also, we're going to put those Pokemon in the back into the box. So even if we do get switched out with Whirlwind, we can actually do a little bit better. Second attempt though, don't know why I bothered, because he just didn't use Whirlwind once. We set up with Agility and with Sword Stance, and we sweep through his team incredibly quickly. Hydro Pump does nearly take us down. We're on 4 HP going into his final 3 Pokemon. And Executor whiffs it by going for Solar Beam. We can even outspeed the Alakazam. Tenchi Muyo is pretty much going to do this on its own until a Rhydon comes out. That's fine, we can bring in Toaster our Steelix and use Earthquake for the win. But yeah, I don't know why I bothered. Like, I don't know what was happening with that first attempt, but you guys saw there how many Whirlwinds we saw. That was an unnatural amount of Whirlwinds. Anyway, there's only one challenge left to see if we can do this. Can this Steel Monotype team beat Red, the Pokemon Master? Let's see how we do. The best Pokemon on the team to start off with is going to be that Steelix. We are going to use this curse strategies to get our defenses ridiculously high. And then I find out very, very quickly why that is not the route to be going with this fight. It is the best Pokemon take on Pikachu, but he knows what type we are weak to. The AI knows. So he's going to send in Espeon pretty much next. And then there's a very high chance you are going to see Charizard after that. Weirdly, we get through most of his Pokemon, and it's the 4th Pokemon that comes out as Charizard. But we have got no way at all right now to actually set up our moves to take him out in one hit. So, annoyingly, Charizard does block us again here. We're too low leveled to actually take it down. So, what do we do differently? Steelix is a great Pokemon for those first few, but it's definitely not the one to be going with. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to stall out Pikachu's Thunder and Thunderbolts. And I can do that from a couple of Pokemon. I can do that from Tom Apple, who does go down to the Pikachu because I didn't give it rest. Then what I can do, I can get it down at a very low HP with Earthquakes, because without setting up curses, it only just manages to survive with a sliver of HP. That gets rid of all the full restores that Red has. Then the Espeon comes out. From here, we're going to curse up, and we'll rest up, but we do get taken down. So it's here that I decided, right, now's the time. We've given rest as well to Tenchi Muyo, and Psychic is not taking us out in enough hits. So, providing we get good luck and good RNG, we can waste out the Psychic from the Espeon. We can PP stall it. And when that finally happens, all it's going to use is Swift, which will hit us, but we can finally set up fully with Agility and Sword Stance, and the rest of the fight is just ours. We haven't even hit level 65 yet. This is the lowest level that I've done this run with in Monotype runs. And it all came down to Caesar and its great moveset. And there we have it. A Steel-type Monotype team has just beaten Pokémon Gold. What typing are you hoping to see tomorrow? Let me know down in the comments, and of course, it might be the one that turns up tomorrow. So give a big thank you as well to Tom Apple with Fortress, Princess Leomar with Skarmory. Some great stats you're seeing here with these Pokemon. Toaster, our Steelix. And finally, the MVP of the run, Tenchi Muyo, our Caesar. Thank you for watching this video, guys. We will see you again tomorrow with another monotype run. And I really hope you drop a like, a sub, or share, whatever you want to do. Come talk to me in the comments. I'm friendly. See you tomorrow.